What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the RBI podcast. My name is Richie. I am your host. Excuse my voice. I have a little bit of I guess, allergies or whatever's going on. So I have a little bit of like a drip or whatever in my throat. So if I'm sound a little raspy or a little deep or whatever, I'm sorry. But we have a lot to talk about today. It's been a while, but before we get started, like always, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You can't follow us, but subscribe to us on YouTube, especially that. We upload content every day. And yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. We haven't spoken since last Tuesday, and you guys will see this on Thursday before you can watch a interesting football game tonight, I would say. But the first thing that happened since our last podcast was Aaron Judge. So we're gonna start off with that. Aaron Judge, 9 years, 360 million. So the Yankees, it seemed like the whole, I guess, Giants spiel or Giants interest was maybe just to get more money from the Yankees, but I'm not really sure. I think the interest was there, obviously, and the Padres came in last minute when they finished second, like they did on almost every player, but another guy we're going to get into. I'm not surprised. There was reports that he took less money to go back to the Yankees. He got offered Padres 10,400. He took 9 for 360 from the Yankees. This conversation I'm going to have with you guys isn't supposedly about Aaron Judge because this needed to happen for them. They needed to lock him up. He is their franchise guy. He is the modern day Derek Jeter. If anything, he's better than Derek Jeter talent wise. And now he's got a shot to win the rings that Jeter had. But the point I'm going to make now is referring to that part of the conversation. But the issue with the Yankees wasn't Judge. Like this needed to happen. He needed to be a Yankee for things to happen because he is their guy. But I still think they need to do more. Like I spoke about this before they even signed Judge. Judge was the starting point because you weren't going anywhere. You weren't going past the Astros with him last year, but you couldn't get rid of him because no one else was going to replace him. They re-signed Rizzo, they signed Tommy Kahnle, and they re-signed Judge. But that was it so far. I saw like a minor league deal for Jake Bauers, but that's not moving the needle for anyone, obviously. They need to. I think they really need to get Rodon, especially with Carlos Correa off the market now. There's a couple outfielders they can get, like Andrew Benintendi, Michael Conforto. Nimmo's gone now, so it's starting to get thin, I would say. Like top end talent's mostly gone. If they want to go the shortstop route, Dansby Swanson's still available, but I don't think they want to. I would not be surprised if they made a trade, but I think right now they have to have their sights set on Rodon and just they got to add something. I prefer them to add a bat. I just don't know where, like third base and shortstop or obvious holes for offense, the way Donaldson and IKF hit, but they are also banking on prospects. So maybe that's why they're not going to make any moves. But you're the Yankees, like add a bat, let the prospects grow accordingly rather than throwing them in there to be like everyday hitters like that need to contribute because it's Judge, Rizzo, and then Stanton and Torres kind of flip flop when they want to be hot or not. So that's all I really have on Judge. I don't want to spend too much time on him because he re-signed with the Yankees. It's the boring thing, but it's what most of us expected. Okay, rather than doing them separately, I'm just going to do both the shortstops, and I'm going to talk about Dansby Swanson's market. Xander Bogaerts, Carlos Correa, they both are in the NL West. Xander Bogaerts to the San Diego Padres for 11 years, 280 million. Carlos Correa, as frequently as last night or 2 nights ago for you guys listening on Thursday, for a whopping 13 years and $350 million. This man bet on himself last year, and he got paid a pretty big penny. I think Correa is the better player in this deal, and I think we'll start with Correa. They missed out on Judge, the Giants. They missed out on DeGrom. They missed out on Nimmo. They missed out on all these big-time players that they were in on, except for Correa. There was reports that the Mets were in on him, but I think that was a Boris technique or a Boris tactic to get his price up, and it worked. This is so important for the Giants because I said it on the first episode, I believe, that they lack that star. And no better player to be like an alpha male guy than Carlos Correa. You know, he's never had 100 RBIs. I've heard that before, but we've seen him do it in the postseason. He had his second highest OPS plus of his career last year. And he's a leader. He's a great shortstop. He's going to bat third every game for you. And you know that your rival Dodgers hate him too, so that's even better for this, in my opinion. The years we can argue all you want. I'm going to have a difference in opinions on his years and Bogarts' years for different reasons. Correa is younger than Bogarts, but he got more years, so it evens out. I think the Giants needed to do this because Brandon Crawford is getting older. You have to move him off shortstop. I've been saying move him to third, move him to second, make him a DH just to save his legs, and you will see his production go up a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to be 2021 Brandon Crawford. I think that was an anomaly year, but you will see his production go up because he doesn't have to man shortstop every day. You have a young, fresh Carlos Correa, fresh off a massive contract, who's proven he can do it for 162 games. I know he's had injuries in the past, but last year I'm pretty sure he played like 130 games, but don't fact check me on that. But anyway, my point is that he's going to man the post. He's going to play shortstop every day, and he's like in my opinion, he's the second or third best shortstop in baseball behind Trey Turner and Francisco Lindor, and that's arguable. On to Bogarts. This contract was reckless. Like I know Red Sox fans are not happy because he's not. He was like a lifetime Red Sox, and I get it. If I'm a Red Sox fan, I'd be more mad at the fact that they didn't offer him a fair contract in spring training because he would have taken it. But now you get to the market, you see what's out there, and this deal, I think it's reckless. I know Correa's was longer, but the Padres have two shortstops. They have Tatis, they have Ha-Seong Kim. Jake Cronenworth has experience playing there too, so does Manny Machado. Um, I think what this deal tells me is that they are afraid that Manny Machado is going to opt out because they can slide Bogarts to third. And I think that's more of what's going to be his role, I would say. I don't think he's the shortstop long term here. And also signing him hamstrings you from like re-signing Machado or re-signing Juan Soto in a couple of years. So I didn't agree with this. I think like people love the effort and the spending money and like the Steve Cohen's doing it and the Phillies doing it. But if you look at those teams, there was obvious holes needed to put money into from a prospect standpoint, from a major league standpoint. The Padres had a bunch of shortstops. Like this didn't make any sense to me because it wasn't a hole. And why spend massive money on just like adding talent? I get you put as much talent as possible and all this stuff, but you have a guy in a 14-year contract to play shortstop in Fernando Tatis Jr., who like obviously his decision making hasn't been the greatest, and it's cost him games and suspensions. But you've given out now, like, hear me out. You've given out 25 years. It's 14 and 11, but you've given out what, like, $700 million in two players that play the same position. And you can say, oh, the Rangers did the same thing. Marcus Semien has a ton of experience playing second base, so that's a little different. I don't understand this move at all. I guess it's for a short-term standpoint, but you were going to really backload yourself in a couple of years because even if it is a cap-friendly deal because it's not even 30 million, he's like they're already talking about moving him off shortstop in a couple of years, and he hasn't even started the contract yet. I just I don't know. I think this is a reckless deal and a deal that probably shouldn't have been made. The last shortstop on the market is Dansby Swanson. The options are out there. You know, Red Sox are available, Twins are out there, Cubs are out there, Dodgers are out there. We're gonna get to the Dodgers in a little bit. I don't. I think he's going to go to the Cubs. We've seen reports. Well, congratulations to the Swansons. His new wife, Hillary Pugh. She's on the Chicago soccer team. I don't know the logo or the mascot, so I apologize. But so that was the correlation they were going to make, was that she plays for the soccer team in Chicago. Hey, I want my husband there with me, so let's go to the Cubs. Um, I don't think these deals affect him at all because I think he's clear cut worse than Turner, Bogarts, and Correa. So I think he'll just settle in behind them. I think if he would have gotten big money first, it would have really jump started the market. But I think that's maybe why he waited, was so he can see. The Cubs seem like the obvious fit. Never count out the Dodgers. The Twins made a heavy offer to Correa, but I don't think they are interested in Swanson as much. I think they know who Correa is. He played there last year. They have Royce Lewis coming back eventually from his injuries, which unfortunately they happen. Um, the Red Sox, I think, can make a move which wouldn't be smart. I think if they were going to get a shortstop, it would have been Correa, but Swanson's not a bad ad by any means. He's not going to be a max player, so I see him getting 5 years, 130 million, 140 million. I don't think he gets 30 million a year. I think he gets like, or maybe like 7 years, 190, something like that. Like he's gonna get a big time deal just because of the position value. But yeah, I think it's going to be the Cubs. I think they're going to throw some money at him. So Dennis Swanson, you are a Chicago Cub. So probably the thinnest position in baseball is catcher, and a lot happened at that position. We saw the Sean Murphy trade where there was another catcher involved. The catcher's brother was involved. And then to start off, just Mike Zunino to Cleveland, Christian Vasquez to the Twins. Just solid moves, nothing crazy, just easy signings, fill gaps. Vasquez is going to replace Sanchez. Mike Zunino, I guess, is Austin Hedges with more power. I don't really know what he is at this point. He's not a great defender. He doesn't throw very well. But we're going to go Wilson Contreras first. The Cardinals signed him to a big deal, 5 years, I believe. And this was like fate. Like we knew this. He said he knew this in August when Pujols hit his 695th home run. I see questions about his defense, and he is like an aging catcher, but he's going to be aging by the time his contract is up. But the Cardinals have a way, like Andrew Kinsner is a good defender. Yadier Molina obviously is the greatest or one of the greatest defenders of all time at the catching position. So maybe they can fix him, but if not, my whole thing about shortstops and the Cardinals not going after one was because they needed a bat. Adding Contreras gives you a bat, so maybe they don't go after Swanson now, or maybe they do. I don't know, but anyway, this adds a bat that can support Goldschmidt and Arenado and Dylan Carlson, Tommy Edman, and all those guys. And I think he's your 5 hitter, maybe your 2 hitter, depending on how you want to construct your lineup. But a good ad, a very obvious ad. Everyone knew this was coming, and it was just a matter of time. The big news was the Sean Murphy to the Braves trade. People were questioning the Braves. They weren't really making that many moves. They traded for Joe Jimenez, the reliever on the Tigers, who's pretty good, and I'm sure he'll be great on the Braves because everyone else is. But this move was a little questionable to me until I saw who was traded. When I saw it, I'm like, now you have 3 catchers. But then I saw William Contreras got traded to the Brewers, and Sean Murphy from the A's went to the Braves, and then the A's basically got back a ton of prospects. Sean Murphy is a solid catcher, more than a solid catcher. He's probably easily top 10 in baseball. I think the Braves were aiming to upgrade defense here because Darno's a good hitter and William Contreras is a good hitter. So is Sean Murphy, but he's a good defender as well. So I think that they wanted to upgrade the defense, but keep that platoon in so they can use the DH. And it was a good move for the Braves. I'm not going to deny it because I'm a Mets fan, but then the other side of the deal is William Contreras going to the Brewers, which I think is the true winner of this deal because they badly needed pop. They traded Hunter Renfroe. They traded Colton Wong. We spoke about that last week. And where were they getting power from? Like Christian Yelich can't hit for power anymore. Rowdy Tellez, I guess, is the only guy, and Willie Adames. So this guy is a legitimate 30-homer threat. I saw it last year as a Mets fan a lot of times. He had a ton of home runs in like splitting time. So his defense is not great, but you get Thump in that lineup. And this is a Brewers thing. Get a cost-controlled guy for multiple years at a position of need because Omar Narvaez is a free agent. So you get Contreras for like I think one prospect that took them, Estuary Ruiz. They sent to not him. It was multiple prospects, not just him. And I think this is a great move for the Braves because they upgrade their defense while keeping that platoon and then giving an offensive catcher to a team that needed offense. Now the Oakland A's. What are we doing? Like, I'm going to make a podcast at the end of the year of New Year's resolutions, and I'll tell you what the A's is, and it's move to Vegas because this is becoming a joke. Their entire lineup from last year, outside of Ramon Laureano, is either traded, cut, released, or is a free agent right now. Everyone is gone. Not one guy is signed. Not one guy is making a lot of money. They signed Aledmys Diaz and Jace Peterson. That there's a real chance that's their second baseman and shortstop going into next year. Aledmys Diaz was a utility player on the what's her names? There you go, the Astros, and Jace Peterson is also a utility player. I just don't get it. I don't like. This is becoming a joke with this team. The whole Moneyball thing was cool 20 years ago, but I don't even know. Like Seth Brown, Ramon Laureano, who else is on this team? Chad Penner's a free agent. He's gonna leave. I don't. Tony Kemp, is he even still there? Like, it's just sad. I feel bad for the fans because the product on the field is atrocious, and I don't want to beat anyone down, but a lot of these guys aren't ready. Like we'll see Shea Langeliers in a full season, but a lot of these guys are guys that should not be in the big leagues yet, or way too young, or are just plain not good enough. And it's not. I don't get it, and it's frustrating because I mean I'm lucky enough now that I have an owner that wants to spend money as a Mets fan. But even before, like with the Wilpons, they still spent more money than the A's. Like since Josh Donaldson left, like Matt Olson came through, gone. Matt Chapman came through, gone. Starling Marte got traded for them, gone. They traded Jesus Luzardo for Starling Marte and then didn't sign him. Like I don't. What are we doing? What are we doing? I wanted to highlight two teams that I think, in my opinion, had really good free agencies. I'm also going to honorable mention the Phillies. I think they did a really good job with Trey Turner, Taijuan Walker, Matt Strom, and I don't think they're done. Um, but the two teams I really want to highlight, and this is no bias, is the New York Mets and the San Francisco Giants. I'll start with the Mets. They re-signed Brandon Nimmo, 8-year deal. Edwin Diaz, underrated because no one. It was like before free agency even opened, 5-year deal. David Robertson, 1-year deal. Jose Quintana, 2-year deal. Kodai Senga, 5-year deal. Brooks Raley trade. Like they made a ton of moves, and what I like what they did, they didn't spend like a drunken sailor. I saw the Correa news that he might get signed. I'm like, this doesn't make a ton of sense for the Mets. I understand they have a ton of money, but if you lock him up for 13 years, you probably can't pay Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil in a couple years, and then you can't pay pitching, and then you're hamstringing yourself for a guy that's playing out of position his entire tenure now because Lindor is the shortstop. Quintana, like this is kind of like not the Astros, but like Quintana is going to replace Walker. Senga is going to replace Bassett. Robertson is going to replace Lugo or Ottavino, depending on who you think the eighth inning guy is. And then I think signing Brandon Nimmo was so important. Even if it's an overpay, the AAV is low, but the overpay is worth it because there are not a lot of center fielders out there. Mike Trout, Julio Rodriguez, Michael Harris, George Springer are like and then Nimmo are the five center fielders off the top of my head that I can truly name as like everyday players that can field and play defense. And it's just, I think that was a great signing. Justin Verlander, I'm stupid. I forgot him. We talked about him last week, but I think that because of this, like they spent their money wisely because they went short term for their contracts. Spend money now, put a good product on the field, develop your farm system, and then we go. Their biggest contract was 8 years, but it was a re-signing. Like it was a hole because of him leaving. So I like that a lot. I like the Quintana signing a lot. Obviously, I love the Verlander signing. I like Senga a lot. I think it's safe because he doesn't have to be your ace. David Robertson's a quality arm. Brooks Raley is an underrated lefty reliever who last year we had Joel Rodriguez and then like Chasen Shreve, Sam Clay. So we didn't really have I don't want to call him star lefty reliever, but his slider is stupid good. And if we can get any production out of him, like that'll be great. Because towards the end of the year, Joel Rodriguez turned it on, and the bullpen like almost revamped itself. I'm not saying he's going to be like a key cog in the bullpen, like a seventh or eighth inning guy, but get the key lefties out, get Bryce Harper out, get like in the National League, get Juan Soto out, get Freddie Freeman out, get Matt Olson out. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting someone. They're probably going to torch me now, but I just really like what they did. I like that they spent their money because they have it and they have a high payroll, but they didn't make the Xander Bogaerts reckless move, in my opinion. And the other team is the Giants, who I was a little down on a couple days ago, but fast forward to 3-4 days, I am very happy. I almost forgot about the Mitch Haniger deal. That's a bat. Carlos Correa, that's a bat. There's your 3 and 4 right there. They also, Joc Pederson's back on the qualifying over. Three, four, five. There you go. Oh wait, we need pitching. All right, we got Logan Webb. He's our ace. How are we replacing Rodon? You're not going to get his talent back, unfortunately. But okay, let's add Ross Stripling, 3.04 ERA. Sean Manaea used to be an ace for the A's. People forget that. Him, Chris Bassett were like the 1-1A for the A's a couple years ago. You can fix him. Look at that rotation now. Logan Webb, Sean Manaea, Ross Stripling, Alex Wood's still there. Who's the guy that throws gas? Oh my god, I'm forgetting his name. He'll come to me. But Alex Cobb, there you go. And you fill out these rotation with these like 6 or 7 quality starters. The Giants know how to develop pitching. They know how to critique. Like they're like the Rays, but like in like a freakish different way. I don't know how that makes sense, but I really, 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 really like what they did. I think that the Correa signing is the best of the offseason. And I think that Mitch Haniger is a great ad because you didn't get Judge, but you got your shortstop now, and you still get pop in right field with Mitch Haniger. You just got to hope that Mike Yastrzemski bounces back. I think J.D. Davis is a quality hitter. He's probably going to play first base. Then you have guys like Tyro Estrada, Lamont Wade. They fill out your roster. But you have your star. You have an ace. I think Ross Stripling is super underrated. Personally, I wanted him on the Mets. And what's his name? Sean Manaea, like I said, used to be an ace, has stuff. We'll see if the Giants can now unlock it. So those are the two teams that I'm really, really, really high on, like after free agency. I'm sure other teams as well that I'm forgetting, and I apologize for that, but those are the two teams that really stuck out to me. The team that not worries me but confuses me is the Dodgers. Actually, I don't really know what they're doing. Like they signed Noah Syndergaard to a 1-year deal. They traded for J.P. Feyereisen from the Brewers, not the Brewers, the Rays. He used to be on the Brewers. He was in the Willy Adames trade with him and Drew Rasmussen. Pretty good trade. They're both good pitchers, but Feyereisen got hurt. They needed space for Zach Eflin, so they did what the Rays did and let go a good player. And then trade happened, Dodgers, and they're going to do their Dodger thing. But I think this team is thin in depth deeply because they lost Trey Turner. They didn't really do much about it. They lost Andrew Heaney. Didn't do much about it. They lost Tyler Anderson. Didn't do much about it. They got Syndergaard, but that's it. They also don't have Buehler this year. So they have Urias. They have May, who's back for a full year. Then they have Syndergaard, Tony Gonsolin, but who knows how many innings he can throw. So their lineup, like, who's playing center field for them now? Like, Betts isn't right. Freeman's at first. They don't have a third baseman. Is Muncy going to play second? Because Lux is that short now? Like, they have a lot of questions. Will Smith's their catcher, obviously, but they do have some prospects coming up that I would like to name. Michael Bush in 2022 ETA, Bobby Miller, right-hand pitcher ETA 2022, and Miguel Vargas 2022 ETA. I'm sorry about that. So I think that like these guys are pro ready, if not already in the big leagues from last year. But are they going to make an impact? I'm not sure. But I think that like they're going a different route. Like they used to spend not like drunken sailors. And there's other guys here like Ryan Pepio's been up already, Andy Pages, or I don't know how to say his name, Diego Cartaya, catcher. Who knows? Like they have some guys I just basically read their top 7. Maybe Dansby Swanson. This is a spot for him. Maybe they get a Benintendi. Maybe they get a Conforto, or maybe they get a Will Myers, or just like a quality bat. Because I think this team lacks something. I don't really know. I can't put my finger on it. They don't have a closer. Craig Kimbrell was like not good last year. Let's be honest. He was pretty bad. So I don't really know where they go from here. I just think that I don't know. This is weird for the Dodgers. Usually like everyone's like, oh, they'll be fine, but this isn't built like a regular Dodger team. They're usually like now Kimbrell's a free agent, but like last year, wasn't good. I don't even think he wasn't on the playoff roster. So I don't really know where they go from here. They'll be fine. Like they have Betts, Freeman, Will Smith. They have stars. I think losing Trey Turner is going to hurt them more than they think because he was so cash money for them. Maybe Lux takes that next step, even though I think he's a quality player anyway. Chris Taylor is kind of hit or miss now. Trace Thompson, I don't really trust him to be quality over 150 games. But if they get quality at bats at other rookies, if they get some random starters will start throwing 100 miles an hour wipeout sliders, and they'll win 100 games, and I'm going to shut my mouth. But right now, I wouldn't say they're worse than the Giants and Padres, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's starting to turn a little bit unless these prospects hit. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is a couple of like pitching signings that weren't a part of like the Quintana Senga, Chris Bassett, Toronto Blue Jays, 3 years, 63 million. Kenley Jansen, Red Sox, 2 years, 32 million, and Jameson Tyone, which happened like before I think Judge signed even, but I couldn't fit it in. So 4 years, 68 million. Bassett, great sign. They lost Stripling, but talk about reliable. Like this dude is super reliable, and he's going to give you innings. They have Manoah. They hope for a bounce back from Barrios. They got him. They got Gosman. So they got some guys. The Blue Jays didn't do much, but they didn't really have to. They added Kevin Kiermaier, who's a good defensive replacement, I think, at this point. But I think that at this point, like maybe they'll add Benintendi. They were in on Nimmo, so I think that I don't know if that's here or if it's internally. I'm not sure, but they're like they have Vladdy, they have Bo, they have Gurriel. They traded Teoscar Hernandez, but they can hit, they can rake. We know that they have a surplus of catchers. They're going to trade one of them, get something back for that. Kenley Jansen to the Red Sox. The Red Sox didn't do much. So I guess giving 16 million a year to a aging closer is interesting, but who am I to judge? And then Jameson Tyone, 4 years, 68 million. This is a fair deal. This is about market value for him. It's less than what Bassett got. It's like I don't even know the exact number, 4 years, 68 million. I'm not a mathematician, but I think it's a good move. He's not the ace there, but they don't really have one. Like they have Stroman, they have Tyone now. They gotta fill it out. We'll see what they do, but good spot, the Cubs, I don't hate it. Yeah, that's all I got for today. I appreciate you guys for listening. And like I said before, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at RBI Pod. Find us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. And if you guys want, drop questions anywhere. I'll put them on the podcast, the show. If you want to be on the show, just let me know. I've had some people ask me for guest visits or like segments and whatnot, but I appreciate everyone listening, like always, and we'll be back on regular schedule next week. So I will see you guys next Wednesday. See you later.